Hello, my dear ones. I want to start today with a question I've asked myself many times over the years, and one that I've often asked those around me. It's a question that might sound simple, but trust me, it's one that can shape the very course of your life. Here it is. Who do you want to be? I know you might be thinking, Grandma, isn't that something we figure out when we're young? Isn't that something we know by now? And maybe, just maybe, you think you have it all figured out. But the truth is, we are all works in progress. Life is a journey of constant change and self-discovery. Even at my age, I'm still discovering new things about myself. So, let me tell you a little story about a time when I was faced with this very question. It was a few years after I married Tom. We were living in a small town, and I was trying to find my place in the world. I had always been a dreamer, full of hopes and ambitions, but somehow I found myself stuck. I was just going through the motions of life, taking care of the house, raising the children, and supporting Tom in his work. Yet there was this voice inside me that kept asking, "Who do you want to be?" I couldn't quite answer. My life felt like a routine, and I wondered if I'd lost sight of the woman I had once hoped to become. So I took a long walk one afternoon, as I often did when I needed to clear my mind. I walked through the old fields near our house, past the rustling trees and the blooming flowers. It was quiet, peaceful, and for the first time in a long while, I felt connected to something bigger than myself. That day, I made a promise to myself. I promised to start asking the question, who do I want to be? Every single day, not just when I was feeling lost or stuck. I realized that this wasn't just a one-time question. It was something I needed to carry with me, day in and day out, because life was always evolving. Finding myself, a journey of self-discovery. I grew up in a small town where people were kind and the pace of life was slower. I loved the simplicity of it all. But even in that small town, I felt a calling for something more. I wanted to be someone who made a difference in the world. I wanted to be known for kindness, for wisdom, and for loving deeply. But sometimes we don't always know who we want to be until we see the person we don't want to be. When I was young, I admired a woman named Edith. She was always so polished, so put together. She had this confidence that made people listen when she spoke. I thought, that's who I want to be. I want to be someone people admire. But over time, I started to see something in Edith that didn't sit right with me. She was so focused on outward appearance and status that she missed the deeper connections that make life meaningful. She didn't care about helping others. She didn't truly know herself, and in turn I realized she couldn't truly connect with others. I learned something important from Edith. It wasn't about putting on a mask or pretending to be someone I wasn't. It was about discovering who I really was and being comfortable in my own skin. I wanted to be a woman of substance, someone who lived with integrity and was true to herself. This wasn't something I could fake. It was something I had to work at every single day. Lessons learned along the way. I'd like to share some of the lessons I've learned over the years, lessons that have helped me figure out who I wanted to be. These are the things that I've found to be true about life and about myself. It's okay to change your mind. When I was younger, I thought I had to have it all figured out. I thought I had to know exactly who I was going to be, where I was going, and how I would get there. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs. It's okay to change your mind about who you want to be as you grow. I've reinvented myself more times than I can count. From young mother to entrepreneur, from housewife to teacher, I've worn many hats, and each one of them taught me something valuable about myself. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure can be one of the most beautiful teachers we have. I learned this lesson when I tried to start a small business. I poured my heart and soul into it, but it didn't work out. I was crushed. But that failure gave me clarity. It made me realize that my identity wasn't tied to my successes or failures. It was tied to who I was at my core. And from that failure, I learned to be resilient and to never give up. Find your purpose. When I was younger, I thought success meant having a big house and lots of money. But as I got older, I realized that true success lies in finding your purpose, what you're meant to do in this world. For me, it was always about helping others. Whether it was through teaching, writing, or simply being a good friend, my purpose was clear. I wanted to live a life that mattered, and that purpose guided every decision I made. Be kind to yourself. You can be your biggest cheerleader or your harshest critic. For much of my life, I was my own worst enemy. I would beat myself up over the smallest mistakes, always striving for perfection. But over time, I learned that self-compassion is the key to growth. If you want to be someone who thrives, you have to be kind to yourself, especially during difficult times. You can't control everything. As much as we want to, we can't control everything. When Tom got sick, I felt completely out of control. I wanted to fix things to make everything right, but I couldn't. All I could do was show up every day, love him the best way I knew how, and trust that the future would unfold as it should. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let go and trust in the process of life. Who do you want to be? So, my dear ones, I ask you again, who do you want to be? Are you living the life you want to live? Or are you stuck, feeling like you're just floating along without a sense of direction? Remember, who you want to be doesn't have to be defined by what others think or expect of you. It doesn't have to be defined by your job, your family, or your past mistakes. It's about discovering your truth. Who do you want to be in your heart? What values do you want to live by? What kind of person do you want to be remembered as? And don't be afraid to dream big. Your potential is endless. Even at my age, I still dream of things I want to accomplish. I want to write more, travel to new places, and continue learning. It's never too late, my dear. You can always start anew. A call to action. If you're unsure of who you want to be, here's what I suggest. Start by reflecting on what matters to you most. Spend some time journaling, walking, or simply sitting in silence. Ask yourself, what are my passions? What makes me feel alive? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? Your answers might surprise you. Next, set small, achievable goals. Don't try to change everything at once. Start with one thing that you can work on right now. Maybe it's being kinder to yourself, pursuing a dream you've forgotten, or simply being present with the people you love. And finally, remember this: who you want to be is not a destination. It's a journey. It's about taking steps every day toward becoming the person you're meant to be. You don't have to have it all figured out today. Just take it one step at a time. Conclusion: embrace who you are becoming. My dear ones, I want you to know that you are enough. You are enough just as you are. And you have everything within you to become the person you dream of being. The only thing standing between you and that version of yourself is time, effort, and the willingness to keep moving forward, even when it's tough. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real. And the truth is, I'm still figuring out who I want to be. But I know that each day brings me one step closer to the person I was meant to be. And I believe with all my heart that you can do the same. So my dear, don't wait. Ask yourself the question, who do I want to be? And let the journey begin. With all my love, Grandma Suzie. Thank you, my dears, for spending this time with me. Remember, life's journey is better when we walk it together. If these stories and reflections warmed your heart, be sure to subscribe and join me for more wisdom, comfort, and a little sprinkle of joy. Together, let's keep growing one story at a time. Until next time, stay safe, stay hopeful, and remember, you're never alone. Grandma loves you.